High school football, Dennis eventually did very well. He started out and the coach told him he was a little small to play football. And Dennis, being the man that he is, did not like that at all.
How can I get him to recognize me, that they're going to let me play? I said, well, whenever you're on the line and you're the only one standing up, then they're going to see who you are. And from that, you know, he did a lot of exercise. He'd run 4 miles one way to school instead of taking the bus, and run 4 miles home. You know, that was his dedication. Because
this is something that he wanted to do whenever he was just a freshman. He came in and he says, "Mom, I know what I want to do." And I said, "Well, what is that, son?" He says, "I want to be an NFL player." And I said, "You can do that. You're the only one that can stop it." And he says, "That's what I'm going to do."
On November 29, 1992, Jets defensive lineman Dennis Byrd collided with a teammate and shattered a vertebra in his neck. He was carted off the field and his uniform was cut off his back.
I need thee every hour, most gracious Lord.
And the phone rang, and it was Angie, and she said, "Dennis has been hurt again. It's bad."
We learned to lean on the Lord at that time, because they just kept telling us every day, you know, that he'd never walk again, and I just kept saying, no, he will walk again.
In New York City, we were walking to Lenox Hill Hospital, and then she said, "Lord, give us a sign that Dennis will walk." And she said, "Lord, just let it snow."
And I looked up at Dan because I couldn't believe why I would make a statement like that. But anyway, we walked on for a few minutes and we looked down and there was snow swirling around our feet.
And I believe you're my hero.
And I knew at that moment God said he will walk. And it was still a hard journey, and he still has his disabilities, he still has a hard time, but he's got his faith, he's got his God.
Life has its everyday struggles. The genuine truth is, for the last 18 years, I've still been competing.
The first time I saw him standing up, it was just a miracle. I knew that God had heard us.
We walked out of the hospital, Mount Sinai, in New York, with crutches in 6 months.
You know, it's just a beautiful story of what God has done to a young man from Oklahoma.
Nobody greater, nobody greater, no.
That Dennis Byrd, and he has a story to tell. It's not only about fighting to get what you want, but there is a healing that God can give you, and only that God can give you. Just a very motivational speaker. Yes, he has disabilities, but that doesn't stop him.
How would I introduce my son? Probably the way that God introduced his son. He said, "This is my son in whom I am well pleased." This is my son, Dennis. Yep.
Nobody great, nobody greater, no.
Nobody greater than you.
Now lift those hands, singers.